Sentencing Guidelines has a number of preferences which allow you to change the behaviour and settings within the application. These changes can be as simple as how your offences are sorted. For instance, you may choose offence by group instead of A to Z because they're all roughly in the same place. Or you could be changing your default court bench books to be family or youth, depending on the court that you normally sit. Correspondingly, you could change pronouncement cards to be adult, Welsh adult, family youth, or Welsh youth. Finally, there are specific settings we can change within the fine calculator. For example, the relevant weekly income figures 400 and 110 can be changed, as can any of the court costs we have listed within the application. And things like rounding and other items can be changed as well. However, to actually make changes, for those changes to be made effective, you have to stop the application. Now that's not just clicking the home button, that's also double-clicking to reveal the running applications tray and then clicking and holding the Sentencing Guidelines application and stopping the application completely. We can then go into iPad settings. We can scroll down the left-hand side of settings until we see Sent Guides, and here we have all the different options we can set within the application. So we just saw when I went through the application some help screens coming up on screen. I can turn those off here. The number of recent updates that are placed into the application, I can change those to display all of them or just a lesser selection. Accessibility is the ability to use the application if you're partially sighted or your sight is not that good. So we can alter the font size for all the index data, and we can also adjust the font and background color to black background yellow font or blue background yellow or white font. So I can set here my default offence indexes to be by group. We'll take a note of the settings we've gone through. I can change my default bench book to be family and my pronouncements to be family. I can adjust my fines calculator, and just for this example, I typically ask and get agreements from the bench as to which figure to use for defendants of limited means, and we may come back to a figure of £30, so we're at least consistent throughout that bench session. And if I know that I'm dealing with offences that are probably after the 1st of October, I'd leave the victim surcharge at 10%. Different benches have different approaches to the rounding of fines. Here you can adjust those to be on or off, or mathematically rounded up or rounded down. So that's a little local bench practice that you can follow. And we have the same similar settings here for overweight vehicles. Again, the choice of rounding. And the PDF viewer settings are discussed in a separate tutorial. Okay, so we've made some changes. We've changed default index to be group. We've changed the bench books to be family. And we've changed a fine calculator for costs of £30. So having made all those changes, I can just go into Sentencing Guidelines, and I can see straight away the offences are listed by group. The court bench books are family. Pronouncement cards are also family. And we can look inside our fine calculator and see our £30 cost button is listed there. So that's a quick roundup of making changes to your sentencing guidelines application.